What if you could get near Opus level intelligence without paying Opus level prices? Sounds like marketing nonsense, right? But as of April 2026, Anthropic introduced something that completely changes how we build AI agents. It's called the Advisor Strategy, and it's basically a new way of thinking about intelligence itself. Here's the simplest way to understand it. You stop treating intelligence like something you can run all the time and start treating it like something you call only when needed. That one shift is what unlocks everything. Right now, most people build agents like this. You pick a model and it handles everything. It reads files, reasoning, calling tools, formatting outputs. But not every step needs the same level of intelligence. In fact, most steps are low intelligent tasks like parsing data, looping through results, or formatting responses. So what ends up happening is you're paying a premium price for work that doesn't need it. If only 10% of your workflow requires deep reasoning, but you run 100% of it on Opus, you're massively overpaying. That's the inefficiency that Advisor Strategy fixes. Now let's break down how it actually works. You split your agent into two roles, the Executor and the Advisor. The Executor, usually Sonnet or Haiku, is doing everything by default. It reads inputs, calls tools like APIs or files, loops through steps, and generates the final output. It's essentially your working engine. Then you have the Advisor, which is Opus. But here's the key detail that most people miss. The Advisor does not take over the task. It only returns guidance. That guidance can be a plan, a correction, or a stop signal, and then control immediately goes back to the Executor. When the Executor gets stuck, it effectively says, I'm not confident about this step, so go and ask the Advisor. And all of this happens inside a single API request with no extra round trips or manual context management. Opus is expensive because it generates long, high-quality outputs, but in this setup, it only produces short plans while Sonnet or Haiku handle the full output at a much lower cost. So you're combining cheap execution with expensive reasoning only when needed, which is why the total cost stays low. What's interesting is this doesn't just reduce cost, it actually improves performance. The Executor doesn't get stuck as often, it doesn't hallucinate as confidently, and it gets course corrected mid-task. Instead of failing silently, it gets a second brain to sanity check it. And you can see this in the benchmarks. Sonnet with an Advisor performs better than Sonnet alone while reducing cost per task by around 12%. Even more interestingly, Haiku with an Advisor more than doubles its performance compared to running on its own, while still costing a fraction of Sonnet. So you're getting smarter agents, lower cost, and better scalability for high volume workflows. In terms of where we use this, it's perfect for multi-step agents, workflows with mixed complexity, high volume automations, or anything where your agents need to both think and act. On the flip side, you probably don't want to use this if every step requires deep reasoning, if the task is purely creative writing, or if your bottleneck is execution rather than intelligence. In those cases, it might be simpler to just run Opus directly. And implementation is ridiculously simple. Inside the Claude Platform Messages API, you just add a single tool, type advisor _ 2026-0301, and that's it. You can optionally set a max users parameter to limit how often Opus gets called and track advisor tokens separately, but there's no orchestration layer and no complex setup required. The biggest shift here is how you think about building agents. We're moving from model selection to intelligence routing. Instead of asking, which model should I use? You start asking, when should I escalate to intelligence? That's a completely different design mindset. Now, quick reality check. This isn't perfect. The Executor decides when to call the Advisor, and it's not always consistent. Sometimes Sonnet escalates correctly, sometimes Haiku might just guess instead. So if you're building production systems, you should absolutely test your prompts, monitor advisor usage, and run proper evaluations. This is one of the biggest shifts in agent design we've seen in a while. You're no longer paying for intelligence, you're allocating it. And if you get that right, you can unlock lower costs, smarter agents, and way better scalability. If you found this video useful and you want to stay up to date with AI innovations, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.